Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast, brought to you by DirecTV, WinThisOnline.com, and Dollar Shave Club. Here's John and Heidi.
It's a Friday. I'm excited. Weekend is upon us.
It is.
And you know, there are some kids in some parts that are getting out of school here pretty darn soon. There's other kids that have like another week. So if you're done already, I guess you're done. If you've got another week or two, I guess you got another week or two. But I can taste summer. That's how close it is.
I know. I can't wait.
I could smell summer the other night. I was driving around and barbecue grills were going all over. I was like, oh, wow. Yeah, that's kind of nice. But you know what we're going to talk about right now?
What's that?
Going to talk about this. Medical research from leading hospitals and universities across the nation have shown conclusively a belief in God really is good for you. It makes you healthier and happier and helps you live longer. That's cool. It's good news for us. According to the Huffington Post, Duke University's Harold G. Koenig says studies have shown prayer can prevent people from getting sick. And when they do get sick, prayer can help them get better faster. That is awesome. After an exhaustive analysis of more than 1,500 reputable medical studies, the doctor says they found that the studies indicate people who are more religious and pray more have better mental and physical health.
Ah.
Amen to that.
Nice.
That's really cool. So there you go. If you're not feeling well, maybe you put your hands together and do a little praying. See how that works. Coming up in a bit, we're going to get a little less serious here. We're going to be talking about somebody that was trying to steal a truck in Des Moines, Iowa. They got something else instead. I think we chatted about that a while back. Also got an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Is that true? Well, we're going to chat about that as well. And coming up on the program today, I've got an author that I'm going to be visiting with. We've got the book, The Upside of Stress. We'll be chatting to find out why stress could be good for you. All of that and much more on the John and Heidi Show for a Friday.
This segment of the program is brought to you by RVWheelator.com. If you want to buy an RV, check it out. And if you want to sell an RV, check it out. Helping connect buyers and sellers at RVWheelator.com.
You're listening to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
We may have talked about this already. Police said someone who attempted to steal a truck parked outside a Des Moines home instead took a bag of dog poop.
Oh, yeah, we did talk about this.
That, right?
Several times we've talked about this.
Why do
you keep coming back to that one? I don't know why. You must really like that story.
The newspaper reported the dog poop had a value of $1.
Yeah, we've talked about this.
How do they have? Who would buy a bag of dog poop for $1?
I don't know.
There's no value.
Fertilizer?
Don't think
yard?
So. All right. Well, since we've already read that, I'm going to skip to this over here. In Port St. Lucie, Florida. Sounds like a beautiful place, doesn't it?
It does.
The police responded to a call from a woman who said her landlord had thrown a porcelain bowl at her face.
Oh.
Not so nice. She said she wanted to pursue criminal charges against the man, but she refused medical treatment, and the cops could not see any injuries. They explained to her the consequences of giving false statements to police, and she declined to file a report. 6 hours later, she showed up at the police station with a large bruise on her face, ready to make the report. The officer on duty thought the bruise looked more like a smudge, possibly drawn on her face.
Oh, my goodness.
He said, we're going to need to take a tissue and wipe your face. And she did. The bruise disappeared.
Imagine that.
She admitted that she applied mascara to the mark because she was mad at her landlord for demanding that she pays her rent.
Oh, of course. How dare the landlord?
She was charged and arrested, charged with making a false police report. So there you go. Yeah, you don't want to do that. I suppose, instead, just pay your rent. That could be a way to get out of that deal.
There's a thought.
All right, coming up in a bit, we do have a guest. We're going to be chatting with the author of the book, The Upside of Stress. When I say we, I mean I will. We should set it up where you can. Leave? We should set it up where you can be on these calls too. That'd be kind of fun.
I'm good.
All right. Well, that is all on the way on a Friday edition of the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by WinThisOnline.com. If you have stuff you'd like to give away, do it for free. Check out the website WinThisOnline.com. It's also free to win stuff. Register today for your free account at WinThisOnline.com.
You're listening to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
Something that you've heard since you were a child. An apple a day keeps the doctor away.
Yes.
Your mother heard it as a child.
Yes.
Her mother heard it as a child. We've heard this for years. Probably as long as there have been apples and doctors, we've heard this, right?
Right.
Well, researchers set out to find out if the adage is true. Does an apple a day really keep the doctor away?
It's just a phrase. Why do we need to study?
Well, they want to know. Because if it's wrong, you get sued for saying things like that. Well, it turns out there actually has some truth to this. They
Well,
found
of course, if you're eating fruits every day, it's going to be somewhat good for you.
But they say it is a bit more complicated. According
Oh
to
my
Time
gosh.
magazine, the study concluded that people who consume apples daily were not less likely to stay overnight at hospitals or visit mental health professionals, but they were less likely to see fewer prescription medications in their life. So you still have accidents, like you get, break
Of
your
course.
arm, or you could go crazy, but you're not going to get as sick like needing medicine and stuff. So there you go. An apple a day and a padded helmet and a bubble wrap vest. And what can you do? A tinfoil on that helmet? That'll keep the
My
doctors all away.
goodness.
Something like that. All right. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. It is a Friday.
This portion of the program brought to you by DirecTV. Sign up today at 1-800-259-7646. That's 1-800-259-7646.
You're listening to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
I've heard of them. They're famous. That's right, Mike. They are.
Staggering statistics for you, Heidi. You ready for some staggering statistics?
Always ready for some staggering statistics.
That's kind of hard to say, isn't it?
It is.
As many as 75% of American children consume caffeine daily, which is leading to sleeping problems among the biggest consumers of caffeine. According to a study published in the Journal of Pediatrics, the research carried out by doctors at the University of Nebraska Medical Center found that children between 8 and 12 consume an average of 109 milligrams of caffeine every day.
Whoa.
Is that a lot?
It sounds like a lot.
How much is a milligram? Is that like a little tiny milligram?
I don't know, but it
109 of
sounds like
those.
a lot.
That is the equivalent of about 3 cans of caffeinated soda.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Lead
That's a lot
researcher
for a kid.
William Warzak says that the intake of caffeine appears to interfere with the children's sleep, with sleep disruptions increasing as kids consume more caffeine. So the more caffeine the kid's having in a day, the more sleep disruptions they're having in a day. I can tell you this.
Same with adults.
I know,
Why
but
did they need a study
they did-
for that?
Well, I don't
too?
know.
These studies irritate the crap out of
Hey,
me.
came up with an idea. I got a grant, $100 billion to study coffee and its effect on people. And at the end, all they have to do is seems to make them more awake.
Surprise! Caffeine keeps you awake. Good job. Here's your grant money.
In this study, they found that kids that have a lot of caffeine are a little more awake than kids who don't.
Well, I'm glad we have that information.
Yes. Well, now we know.
Now I can rest easy.
Well, unless, of course, you're having
Unless I've had
caffeine.
caffeine.
And you can't rest so easy. See, without this study, you'd never know.
I wouldn't have known.
I can tell you this. There are times when I'll go a few days without having coffee, and I'll get headaches because I haven't gotten my caffeine.
But you also think you get headaches if you wait too long to get a haircut.
I
so
do.
Nobody's going to put
No.
too much stock in what
I do.
you have to say.
I absolutely do.
You do not.
I do, too. Is there anybody else that does that? Somebody let me know. Maybe it's just me. All right. It is a Friday. We have the scoop of the day coming your way and a guest author coming up in a bit as well on the John and Heidi Show on a Friday.
This portion of the program is brought to you by We Need Sponsors.
Hey, wait a minute. All right. I'll let you finish.
If my husband would go out and sell some advertising, I would have something to read here. Again, this portion of the program is brought to you by We Need Some Freaking Sponsors.
You're listening to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
Time now for the scoop of the day, brought to you by the Dollar Shave Club. If you'd like to shave and get a nice close, smooth shave.
Nice clothes.
Close, smooth shave. Go to dollarshaveclub.com/radio and check it out. How long have I been using those now?
Oh, about 4 months.
And it's not been that long. Maybe 3 months, maybe 2 months. However long. I get the nice ones and it works really well. I'm feeling my face right now is very stubbly because
You haven't shaved.
I didn't shave today. Maybe this is the wrong day to debut them as a sponsor. Good thing is we don't have a webcam. But again, go to dollarshaveclub.com/radio and check it out. Fire departments in Williams County, Ohio responded to a fire at a fire station on Sunday. 3 fire departments responded to the fire station because that's where the fire was, at a fire station.
Oh.
So they had other fire departments going to a fire at a different fire station.
Kind of like it was a few months ago. There was a huge fire at a fire extinguisher plant.
I know, it's just kind of
Which I
ironic.
think it's hilarious.
Well, it's not hilarious. It's sad.
It's hilarious.
But it's just ironic, I think is the word you're looking for.
It's ironically hilarious.
It's hilariously ironic. A town that does not exist has shown up on Google Maps.
What?
Yeah.
Is it Atlantis?
I don't think so. It's Argleton, I think is how they have it. It appears on maps, as a town in Lancashire, where locals say there should just be green, empty fields, despite the fact that Argleton does not exist. An internet search lists homes, jobs, services, and businesses in the area. The businesses, the people, and the services are real, the story said, but they're located in the same zip code as the ghost town. So there's this town that just popped up on a map. It doesn't exist in real life, but they see it through Google Maps.
But if it doesn't exist in real life, how do they have homes and people and all that?
These are people that live in a different community, but they're being listed as in Argleton.
Huh.
I don't know. Let's move on, because that's kind of creepy. I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone. 2 teens are under arrest after a click of a computer mouse led police right to them. The 2 allegedly burglarized a home in Mundelein, Illinois. Then they created a website and posted pictures of their ill-gotten goods. They were trying to sell them.
What?
Police,
stupid kids.
Operating on a tip, visited the site and showed it to the burglary victim, who said, yeah, that's my stuff. $20,000 worth of electronics and computer equipment. Police knew exactly how to find the burglars because they posted their info on the web.
Wow.
Yeah. And one last story. If you fall asleep working, most of the time you'll get in trouble, maybe even fired. But a man, wink, wink, working in Madrid was arrested after he fell asleep on his job. Not just fired, he was arrested. His job was stealing. The burglar broke into a medical clinic with a couple of buzz saws. In the process of breaking open a large locked metal box, he spied a nice little cushioned ergonomic chair. Before finishing the job, he thought, I'm going to test out this chair. Whoa, it's comfy.
Smart.
Yeah. He fell asleep, woke up the next morning to the sound of the police arresting him. Instead of spending money on a burglar alarm, they said maybe everybody just needs a nice, cozy chair.
He should have had some caffeine.
There you go, from that study earlier. You're good. Hey, we're going to end with our strange law because that's the rule. It is required by Kentucky law that you must bathe, either shower or bathe, no less than once a year. So at least once a year you need to take a bath. Kentucky law.
Does anybody need to be told that? Apparently in Kentucky, huh?
Must be.
Is that an issue?
I don't know. But it's a law, so there you go. What is it around here? How often? Once a year? Once a month? Once a week? I try doing it every day. I can tell you if I skip a day, I don't like that. Again, the scoop of the day brought to you right now, at the moment anyway, by Dollar Shave Club, until, of course, they hear this, and then they're going to say, would you please quit mentioning us? Check it out, dollarshaveclub.com/radio.
You're listening to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
Thank you so much for joining us on a Friday. Heidi, I'm going to have you scoot out of the studio because I need to make a phone call here.
Alrighty.
I've got an author that I'm going to be chatting with here, Kelly McGonigal, and take a listen to this. Kelly is a health psychologist and a lecturer at Stanford University, as well as a fitness instructor and a meditation teacher. Her work has been included in the New York Times, the Los Angeles Times, the Washington Post, Time Magazine, Psychology Today, Reader's Digest, the O, Oprah Magazine, also as well as on NPR and MSNBC. Her research has appeared in the journals such as the Motivation and Emotion Journal and the Journal of Happiness Studies and the Journal of Personality and the Journal of Sociology. I mean, come on, Kelly, you really need to get a hobby or something.
Well, I am trying to embrace stress. Being busy is for that.
Well, very good to visit with you. The upside of stress with the job that I have, I wouldn't say that it's probably the most stressful job in the world, but there are times when you're doing things where you got to get this done and that done. I've encountered some stress, and I like the way that you look at it. You say that it can be a good thing. Tell me, how in the world did you come up with the idea for this book and come up with the idea that stress is good for you?
Well, so I'm a health psychologist, and I was trained to view stress as the enemy. And I changed my mind about stress because all of this research was coming out linking stress to benefits, to things that we want in life, whether it's greater meaning in life to even longer life expectancy. And so, this book is basically the result of me trying to investigate and figure out what is good about stress. And more importantly, is there a way to relate to the stress in our lives that makes it more likely that we'll experience the benefits instead of some of the harmful side effects of chronic stress or severe stress that I think many of us are more familiar with than the upside?
So how do you cultivate a mindset that helps you embrace it the right way and make stress good in your life?
Yeah, I think the best way to adopt a really helpful attitude towards stress is to recognize that stress is a resource that's actually helping you handle life's challenges. So, when you notice that your heart is pounding, that's your body trying to give you energy so that you'll do something. Or if you notice when you're stressed out that you can't stop thinking about something, that's because biologically your brain is trying to make sense of this and trying to make meaning and trying to learn and grow from the experience. And all of the things that we think of as stress symptoms are actually signs that we are rising to the challenge, and we shouldn't try to suppress them or distract ourselves from them. We really can more trust ourselves that we can handle the stress in our lives.
As you take a look at the book, The Upside of Stress, who would you say is the ideal candidate for a book like this? Would it be maybe a student that's going to college and kind of stressed out with grades, or maybe a person that's in the workforce and stressed out with all of the pressures coming from the boss and coming from home? Or would you kind of say it's everybody?
Well, it is everybody, but there are different strategies that I think are more helpful in different situations. There's one chapter in the book that's great for people who deal with performance anxiety. They're under a lot of pressure at work, or they're taking exams. And it's all about how to view anxiety as kind of like rocket fuel that can help you get things done, that it doesn't have to be debilitating. And it certainly isn't a sign that you aren't going to be able to succeed. Actually, the last two chapters in the book really focus more on people who are going through stressful situations that you could really describe as suffering, traumatic experiences, and there may be different strategies that are relevant. You're not going to say, well, this is great for me, I'm going to rise to the challenge. But we can look at how our own sort of human capacity to find meaning and to use those sorts of difficult situations as a catalyst for connecting with other people. That's going to be more relevant in those situations.
On the line again with Kelly McGonigal, PhD, the author of The Upside of Stress, Why Stress is Good for You and How to Get Good at It. And when you're looking at your daily life and how stressful it can be, how can you give the focus and the energy that you need to reach the goals? How can you maybe put that mindset together and make all of this work for you?
Well, one thing that you can do is use stress as a signal of what matters to you. And one simple mindset exercise that you can do every day when you wake up is think, okay, if I'm overwhelmed by what has to get done today, what's the one thing that I want to choose that I'm going to give my full energy and attention to? And you can actually use that stress that you feel when you feel overwhelmed. You can think, I'm going to give this energy of stress to the one thing that matters most, and I'm going to use it instead of, trying to calm down and reduce it or talk myself out of it. The other thing that I think is really helpful is to remember what I call the stress paradox. In the book, I talk about research on the link between having more stress in your life and also saying that your life is more meaningful, saying that you feel more love or more laughter or more gratitude. And it's a really surprising link. Most people think the ideal life is going to be stress-free. And yet when you actually look at who's most satisfied with their lives, it's people who also report high levels of stress. And I think sometimes when I wake up and I feel overwhelmed, it's helpful for me to remember that if my life were less stressful, I probably would also be less satisfied with my life, even if I am, stressed out about the stress in my life. It doesn't mean that the ideal life is one that has less stress.
So now there are some people who handle stress better than others. I know for myself, I'm involved in a lot of things, and I feel like I work pretty well under pressure. And I know that there are times where, I just don't have anything to do, and I'm sitting around bored out of my mind because there's nothing to do. So I think I must be a person who kind of likes a little bit of stress.
Yeah, and I think of you guys as being stress junkies. I'm not one of them, by the way. I like things to be nice and calm if I could control it. And I think actually, one way to think about it is we all have a way to thrive under stress. You might be the one who needs the challenge, who needs that pressure and really thrives under that side of stress. I'm the kind of person where I like thinking about situations as, ways to find meaning or to grow and learn. And I can thrive sort of after the fact. Maybe I didn't enjoy how stressful something was, but I enjoy the process of trying to make sense out of it or trying to find some meaning in it. And I can thrive in that way. And there are different ways to be someone who's good at stress. It's not necessarily the person who enjoys the moment of stress who's going to end up being able to transform stress into something good.
Very nice. Again, on the telephone line with the author of the book, The Upside of Stress, Why Stress is Good for You and How to Get Good at It, Kelly McGonigal. Now, you have a TED Talk on this subject that has received over 7 million views. That is ridiculous. So there must be people out there that are kind of curious about stress, because if they, otherwise, why would they be watching this video, right?
Yeah, and I think the reason, so it's gotten viewed that many times because it's been shared. And I think that's actually wonderful, because what people are saying by sharing that TED Talk is they're saying, look, there's a way to think about stress that is empowering. And most of us, instead, we just are bombarded with messages about stress that I think really disempower us. They make us feel like we are inadequate to life, that we can't handle life, and there's something wrong with us when we're stressed out. So I think that's why the TED Talk was so popular, because we're all stressed out, and I think it's, in a way we need this kind of optimism to remind us that we're able to handle the stress in our lives.
Very nice. Now, the book, The Upside of Stress, is available right now. Where can we find the book?
Anywhere that you normally buy books.
So if I buy books at Barnes & Noble, I can get it there?
Yep.
If I get them at Amazon, I can get it there?
Yep, or your independent bookstore. Hopefully it's anywhere.
All right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us this morning. I know you've got a lot of calls today. Does that stress you out at all?
I've actually, I've been trying to get more stressed out. I've actually been dancing in the conference room to try to get my energy. I need the stress in order to do 24 interviews today.
There you go. Well, I will let you get on to the next one. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us.
Take care.
And again, right there, Kelly McGonigal, the author of The Upside of Stress, Why Stress is Good for You and How to Get Good at It. Going to have Heidi back in here in a bit. Thank you so much for joining us on a Friday. It's the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club.
I use their razors, and I absolutely love them. And if you would like to try some razors and get a little special discount and get me a little extra credit, check out dollarshaveclub.com/BigJohnSmall. I love their razors. I use them all the time.
I've tried to use them. He won't let me touch them.
Yeah, leave my razors alone. Get your own razors. They're dirt cheap. Go check them out. dollarshaveclub.com/BigJohnSmall, and you're going to absolutely love them.
Again, this portion of the program brought to you by the Dollar Shave Club.
You're listening to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
I've heard of them. They're famous. That's right, Mike. They are.
Today's a very special day, Heidi.
What is today, John?
Today is Friday, the 8th day of May. It's Free Trade Day, National Animal Disaster Preparedness Day. So get your dogs and cats ready for tornadoes today.
What?
Teach them what to do. National Animal Disaster Preparedness Day.
I don't even know what that means.
It's a day to get your animals prepared for disasters. Because you think about it, it does make sense. If you were going to have, a fire drill or a tornado drill, do you ever teach the kids? Yes. Do you teach the dogs? Probably not.
Like the dogs are going to remember what to do. You got to grab the dog. That's how you get prepared. You grab your dog and take it out.
So you're saying you already have a plan?
My animals don't have a plan.
No, I'm just saying, you have a plan. You grab them. Good job. You are prepared. Today's No Socks Day. Hey, take a look down here. What do you see?
Hey, me too.
No socks. Just wearing bare feet right now.
It's a nice thing about working in radio.
Yeah. Today is also Time of Remembrance and Reconciliation for those who lost their lives during the Second World War Day.
Oh, that's nice.
Also VE Day, World Red Cross Day, World Ovarian Cancer Day, Child Care Provider Day. So if you've got a babysitter in your life, be sure to say thanks today. Fantastic. Let me try that again. Fantastic. I wonder if they have this spelled wrong or if I'm saying it wrong. Fantastic Friday Giving Shars a Voice Day. I don't know what that
Giving
means.
Shars a voice?
S-H-A-R-S. Shars.
Maybe it's supposed to be sharks. That's why it says fantastic.
Could be. Fantastic Friday Giving Sharks a Voice. That
I
makes
bet
sort
it
of
is.
sense. And then it's Military Spouse Appreciation Day.
That's
and
nice.
That is a really cool thing because for those of you who know someone who's serving in the military, if that person is married, you understand their spouse, even though they're not overseas, they're back here keeping the home front going. So it is a very special day. A lot of things today. Cannot believe how many things there are on one little day. And for some, it's just a regular Friday. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Friday.
This segment of the program is brought to you by RVWheelator.com. If you want to buy an RV, check it out. And if you want to sell an RV, check it out. Helping connect buyers and sellers at RVWheelator.com.
You're listening to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
A study found that reconnecting with your sweetie boils down to 2 words. You ready for this?
Yes.
What do you think they are? If you were going to guess, the two of us.
2 words.
If we were having a little dispute and things were heated.
Hug me.
No. Road trip.
All right.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm sorry. Those are the 2 words I usually use.
It usually works.
They usually are the 2 that I deserve to use. Like, I'm sorry. But no, road trip. A whopping 84% of couples say taking a simple road trip strengthened their relationship. Is that true for us, or does it make it worse?
Usually it makes it worse.
Yeah, I'm kind of weird. I have weird habits.
Yes, you do.
They say it's quality time, just you and your sweetie. 63% say that they hold hands or share a kiss at red lights. It's also a good time to talk about other important things. So if you have important things, to take a road trip. I got an idea. Let's take a road trip.
I'm all for a road trip.
I'll hold your hand.
Where should we go?
I don't know. We'll go somewhere. It's a Friday. We got a whole weekend. We could go anywhere. We could drive anywhere we want to go. Almost. Maybe
We've
not
got
everywhere.
graduations this weekend, so
we
can't
do.
really go anywhere.
Road trip to graduations. 84% said that they strengthen relationships. Does that mean 16% it gets worse?
We would be probably part of that.
Probably. Maybe we shouldn't do a
We
road
certainly
trip.
don't kiss at red lights.
No, we should. We should go to more red lights. There you go. Thank you so much for listening on a Friday. It's the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by WinThisOnline.com. If you have stuff you'd like to give away, do it for free. Check out the website WinThisOnline.com. It's also free to win stuff. Register today for your free account at WinThisOnline.com.
You're listening to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
If you're trying to come up with some bright ideas for your next home project, you're supposed to get rid of your lampshades. Have you seen this trend?
No, but I wouldn't want to do that.
According to a study, illuminating a room with a single unshaded light bulb greatly boosts your problem-solving skills. So if you're trying to solve a problem, they're saying take off the lampshades because it's brighter. Or do what I just
Maybe it's
hold
just
the light
the
bulb.
fact that you can see the light bulb and it makes you think like, hey, I have an idea.
I just hold the light bulb above my head.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, hey, I got an idea. See? Check it out. I got a light bulb above my head. I don't really do that. But they should sell light bulbs that light up when you hold them over your head. Let's design those, and we'll go on Shark Tank and get laughed at. How many of you sold? None.
You're the first.
But for $7 million,
You can get in on the ground floor of this operation.
2% of it. All right. Oh, boy. Thank you so much for tuning in. It is a Friday. You're listening to The John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program brought to you by DirecTV. Sign up today at 1-800-259-7646. That's 1-800-259-7646.
You're listening to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
In the Netherlands, the Bruntjes family thought that it would be cute for them to get one of those doorbells that barks like a dog when somebody presses the button. Have you ever seen those?
Yeah, I've seen those.
In fact, their doorbell plays 15 different barking noises, and apparently it's pretty convincing. After pressing the doorbell and hearing the barks, a city inspector slipped a $97 Dutch dog tax bill into their mail slot. It was the second year in a row the family had a run-in with authorities over this dog doorbell so far. They had a difficult time convincing the city that they didn't have a dog last year either. The moment of duh is not getting rid of the dog doorbell before
why
this
wouldn't
happened
you just
the second
get rid
time.
of it? If it was causing problems, just get rid of it.
They push the button and it, and this guy's like, well, they don't have a dog tax or what is it called? Dog tax bill. So they must need a permit.
First of all, I wouldn't live somewhere that tried to charge me a dog tax.
It's $97 for the whole year. So you're
I
telling
don't
me
care.
if our community said no more dogs, or you need to get rid of your dog or pay $97, you'd get rid of our dogs?
No, I'd move. I wouldn't live somewhere that tried to charge me for having a pet. That's insane. I mean, unless you're in an apartment complex where they have that right, where they own your building. But if you own a house, I don't think so. I'm out of here.
All right. Well, that happened in somewhere. It says Dutch
It's another,
dog tax.
yeah, it's another country.
What country? Holland? That happened in Dutchland? That's not right. Holland, isn't it?
Holland is Dutch. Yeah. Good job, honey.
Thank you. It's almost the weekend. I quit thinking about 3 hours ago. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Friday.
This portion of the program brought to you by BillionAuto.com. If you're looking to buy a car, they have a bunch of them. Maybe 1 billion. No guarantees on that. But I will guarantee you'll find a lot of cars at BillionAuto.com.
You're listening to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
Dare I read this next story? It's not from this country. A moment ago, I had a moment of duh of my own. I was trying to figure out where Dutch is. Apparently, it's Holland, not Dutch. Anyway, this is from New Zealand. A 16-year-old boy from New Zealand recently went to see a man about a car. Seeing as how you don't buy a car without taking a test drive, the kid took it for a spin. He apparently needed a little bit of time to decide because it was 300 miles that he drove.
Ooh.
And then he decided he didn't want the car. Then he returned it to the owner. Here's the strange part. Police say the kid won't be charged since the owner did not stipulate any conditions for a test drive. So he drove the car for 300 miles.
Yeah, that doesn't seem right.
Then he brought it back. He goes, I just don't think this is going to be the right car for me. Thank you very much.
That's not right. He should.
No, that doesn't seem right.
No.
Hopefully, at least topped off the tank of gas. No.
But really, the owner of the vehicle probably should have gone along for the test. I mean,
you just hand him the keys.
You just hand some keys to a stranger and say,
16-year-old kid, even,
have
makes
a good
it more interesting.
time.
All right, coming up, we got a fun story here that we're going to chat about. That is on the way, and we'll be winding down the John and Heidi Show for a Friday in a bit. Thanks for tuning in.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club.
I use their razors, and I absolutely love them. And if you would like to try some razors and get a little special discount and get me a little extra credit, check out dollarshaveclub.com/BigJohnSmall. I love their razors. I use them all the time.
I've tried to use them. He won't let me touch them.
Yeah, leave my razors alone. Get your own razors. They're dirt cheap. Go check them out. dollarshaveclub.com/BigJohnSmall, and you're going to absolutely love them.
Again, this portion of the program brought to you by the Dollar Shave Club.
You're listening to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
I've heard of them. They're famous. That's right, Mike. They are.
Henry Johnson probably should have just walked to his destination, but instead he decided to take Buffalo Rapid Transit, which would have been fine except that he demanded a free ride. The driver disagreed and called the transit police, who then arrived and charged Henry with theft of service. To make matters worse, he gave cops a fake name and was also charged with false impersonation. And they weren't done yet. One of the cops found out who he really was. They discovered he was wanted on an arson and criminal mischief charge. Did I mention that in checking his possessions, they also found stolen supermarket cards, gas cards, and a library card? Oh, and that's not all. He also had 5 bags of crack cocaine in his pockets. He got a free ride.
Okay, let me go back to the...
But it was to jail.
He had a stolen library card?
Yeah.
Don't they just give those out for free?
I think so. He didn't want to use his real name. He's like, so what you got there? Is that a library card? While he was stealing the supermarket card and the gas cards, I'm pretty sure he didn't mind taking their library card, too.
Oh, gosh.
That is kind of dumb.
Me up.
Of all of those things, that's the one that stood out to you?
Yeah.
Did you happen to notice the crack cocaine? 5 bags, Heidi.
Well, that's why it was so funny, because all the rest of the stuff, okay, that makes sense. I can see why you'd have all that stolen stuff, but why a stolen library card?
The thing I wonder, if you were loaded down with all that stolen stuff, and you were on the lam from the law anyway, you got away because nobody knows that you're who you really are, why would you try to get a free ride? You take a ride somewhere and say, I'm not going to pay, and then you get arrested because of that. That's just so dumb. Goes to prove, like I always say, dumb criminals ain't too smart. I don't think I said that right. Something like that. It's a Friday, isn't it?
It is a Friday.
Can I go now?
Yes.
Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. For those of you listening on the radio, we'll get some music going for you here in a bit. And for those of you listening on our podcast, we have a bonus break. And if you'd like to tune into that podcast, it's on Spreaker.com, and just look for The John and Heidi Show. All right, those radio folks are gone, so now we get to dive into the really good stuff. The residents of Oak Lawn, Illinois, apparently have hard times understanding not obituaries, the ordinary stop sign. Did I already mention that I'm not?
I think you're ready for the weekend.
I think I am too. Maybe we should just stop this bonus break now. Well, they decided to get creative with their stop signs there. They added extra signs underneath of the stop signs. So the slogans include, stop, and then underneath it says, and smell the roses. Another one says, stop, right there, pilgrim. There's another one that says, stop.
Or my mom will shoot.
No, that's not, that should be, but no. It says, stop means you're no longer moving. Residents in the town's mayor found them.
Hammer time.
Yeah, that's what they should have. Let's put out those.
Stop in the name of love.
Let's do these. And we could put a don't above stop believing.
Believing. There you go. See?
See, we're going to get some signs now. Well, the residents and the town's mayor found them funny. The Illinois Department of Transportation was less than enthused. $1,700 worth of signs have been pulled down so far.
Oh, fun haters.
Yeah, they said, no, we're not going to let you guys have those.
That's awful.
So we're not going to spend that much, but we're going to make some signs today.
Just go stick them up randomly.
It's like Arts and Crafts Day. And one last thing. Many schools have banned iPods and other digital music players from exams. In Idaho Mountain Idaho. See, I would never do this on the radio. In the podcast, you guys get to hear what a moron I am. In Idaho Mountain View High School, where? In Idaho, there's a comma, I see. In Idaho, that's where it is. At Mountain View High School, that's where it is. The principal, Aaron Mabon, says students come up with new and creative ways to cheat pretty fast. While no kids have ever really been caught with iPods cheating, Mabon says a teacher overheard a couple students talking about it. The music players can be used to record audio answers to tests or crib sheets. Could be displayed in the text of the song lyrics. So they're saying they think that...
I can't believe that I hadn't thought about that. I mean, I didn't have those when I was a kid, but...
You had a Walkman.
Well, no, we couldn't take them into class.
Well, I don't know if
now they can take them into class, but I can't believe that was not the first thing that popped into my mind when they're listening to music in school. I can't believe I didn't give my children that idea.
Only problem is
a very good idea.
You'd be singing along and you'd be singing the answers out loud. You're like, don't stop believing. Answer 18 is 7-3. I don't know what you do. Again, I've already admitted my brain is done for the week, so we're leaving now. We have no way to close the podcast. Again, if you have a great idea on how to close the podcast, you should let us know.